Hi, welcome to my kitchen my way, Victoria, BC. Today, I'm going to show you how to do japchae.
Is Korean sweet potato noodles. I'm going to do one plain, one with beef, and one with shrimp. Let's take a look at the ingredients. Now, first of all, we need to buy the Korean sweet potato noodles. This is the one that we can find in Victoria. Most of the supermarket carry this one. And we need some dried mushroom, but it is optional. If you don't have time to soak the dried mushroom, you can use the fresh one, or even you just skip it, okay? Don't use any. Today, I'm going to show you a very quick way to soften the dried mushroom. And I have already had it done. All you need to do is to put the dried mushroom in a pot, wash it, and then pour some water in, just enough to cover the dried mushroom. Bring it to a boil for about 5 minutes. Cover the lid. Let it stay there for 10 minutes and it will be done. And it's ready for use. Other ingredients include vegetables, okay? You can use whatever vegetables you like. Usually I'll use onion, carrot, celery, and spinach, but I don't have spinach today, so I just skip it today. Now we need to cut the vegetables into strips. I just have the baby carrot at home, so I use the baby carrot. And we need 2 stalks of celery. And we also slice them into strips. Try to cut them thin. And we have to cut the onion as well. I love to use more vegetables in my dishes, so I'll add some cabbage into this one. It will give a rich texture to this dish. And now always keep some dried seaweeds at home, because whenever I run out of vegetables, I can just use some of this. It's the wakame. You can find them in most supermarkets selling Japanese food. All you need to do is to soak them in boiled water and they will be ready for use. You can add them in all kinds of soups. Sometimes I add them in miso silu, the miso soup, or sometimes when I have noodles and I don't have vegetables, I just put some in. It's very nutritious. And as I said, I don't have spinach, so I'm going to use it to replace spinach to give it some texture. And now we also need to cut the softened mushroom. We also need to cut them into strips. Now all the vegetables we need are cut. And as I said, I'm going to make 3 dishes, right? One plain, one with shrimp, and one with beef. I like to use this Argentinian shrimp because the flavor is stronger and the texture is crunchy. You need to buy the raw one. Don't buy the cooked one because we need the sauce of the shrimps. You can find this in 50s. They are on sale this week. Okay, it's very, very yummy. And finally, we need some beef. We need around 200 gram. 1 to 200 gram will do. We only make one dish. We also need to cut them into long strips. Put them in a bowl and then we'll season it with soy sauce. We only need 2 teaspoonfuls of soy sauce because the beef is very fresh and we don't need a lot of seasoning. And the sauce that we are going to cook the noodle, it will give a strong flavor to the noodles. Mix well and set it aside. Let's take a look at the sauce that we are going to use today. This is the Korean barbecue sauce. Usually I can find it in Fairway, Walmart, and some supermarkets selling Korean and Chinese food, okay? It is kind of sweet. It is very good to go with beef and pork, okay? You can try it. And the other one is the one that I usually use is the oyster sauce. Okay, if you don't have the Korean barbecue sauce or the oyster sauce, you can just use the soy sauce. And most importantly, we have to use sesame oil. It is the essence of the whole dish. It can enhance the flavor of the noodles. Now let's start cooking. I have prepared a big pot of hot water, some noodles. I'm going to use just half of it today. If you use the whole pack, it will be good enough for 5 to 6 people. It really depends on whether you want to use it as an appetizer or your main dish. Okay, it really depends on your needs. According to the instructions, we need to boil it for 6 minutes, but usually I'll boil it for 7 minutes because I'm not going to rinse it in cold water because I find it too soft after rinsing. So I'll just use it right away after 7 minutes. Whilst we are still waiting for the noodles, I'll just fry the vegetables with the oil. I don't like to boil them because I want to keep the flavor. And I don't want the vegetables to be too soft, okay? So I'll just fry the vegetables for a while.
Now usually I'll start with those vegetables which take longer time to cook. Okay, for example is the cabbage, then I'll add the carrot. It really depends on your own preference. Some people, they like to eat very soft vegetables, but for me, I like to keep them a bit chewy. Now, it's time to add celery. Now I'm going to add a teaspoonful of water. You see the steam? All the vegetables is done. Okay, I'll just leave them here. While we are still waiting for the noodle, we can cook the beef. A bit oil, just a bit will do, because there is a lot of fat in the beef, right? You can see that. And then add some of the dry mushroom, because I'm going to leave some for the shrimp. And then some onion. And then I'll add the beef. Now the noodle is done. Now let's check the noodles and leave the beef here for a while. Now for me, it's done. Okay, it's 7 minutes. I just bring it over to the big pot here. Okay, now you sit here and wait for the beef. Now you see the juice coming out from the beef. Now it's time to add a bit of the barbecue sauce. Just a bit will do. Maybe 2 teaspoonfuls. So that the dry mushroom will be seasoned. Okay, the beef is done. I'll just leave it here and see what we are going to do with the noodles.
Now, first of all, I'll cut the noodles, okay, so that it will be easier for us to mix it. Otherwise, it will be a big pile of noodles. It's very difficult to mix with the vegetables. So usually, I'll just cut through it. And now we are going to make the plain noodles, okay? Now we need 2 tablespoonfuls of the barbecue sauce. If you don't have it, you use soy sauce, okay? You can use 2 to 3 teaspoonfuls of soy sauce. It really depends on how salty you want the dish to be, okay? Add 2 teaspoonfuls of oyster sauce as well. Okay, mix them well. You can try the taste, okay, while you are mixing it. Okay, it doesn't matter. You are cooking in your kitchen, okay? Your kitchen, your way. My kitchen, my way. There are hundreds and thousands of ways of cooking this dish, okay? You just do it your way. Enjoy cooking. It doesn't matter. Don't be so rigid, okay? It's just like me. I add whatever vegetables I like. I add whatever meat I like, okay? Anything. In my kitchen, my way. And I'll add the dried seaweed as well, but it's optional. If you don't have it, you don't have to use it. Just use whatever you have at home. Mix well, and we will add 2 teaspoonfuls of sesame oil. Mix well, and the plain noodle is done and is ready to be served. We can add some sesame seed on top to make it look nicer. You see, it's done. Now we'll add half of the remaining noodles to the beef. Mix well, and the beef noodles is done. We'll also put some sesame to decorate the dish, just like this. And now is our final dish. Heat some oil, put the minced garlic in, stir fry it a bit, and then put the dried mushroom and the onion in. It won't take long to cook the shrimp. Now, add the shrimp, all in, cover the lid, and cook for around 1 minute. Now it is done. We'll just pour everything into the rest of the noodles, mix them well, and the shrimp noodles is done. Mix well, and it's ready to be served. And remember to sprinkle some sesame on top as well. I hope you enjoy watching my video and have fun cooking with your family. I hope you like the plain noodle I made today, the beef, and the shrimp. See you next time. Merry Christmas!